This is United Network News with Sunny Galt, Calen, Kimberly Gogan, and our field messengers from around the world. Here's today's real news.
It's Monday, May 12th, 2025, and here are today's stories. Curious about your roots? Home DNA kits promise big insights, but with 23andMe filing for bankruptcy, what happens to your personal data? In Uganda, water customers are getting disconnected just 48 hours after billing. Glitches, fees, and frustration are leaving residents dry and demanding answers. We'll also trace how the Philippines became the global hub for call centers. And you'll meet a Romanian artist whose rustic paintings helped shape modern art. Why is a bag of chips cheaper than a handful of kale? We'll break down the rising cost of eating healthy. And finally, step into the soft pink glow of Japan's cherry blossom season as we explore the timeless beauty of Hanami.
Home DNA kits have become a popular way for people to unlock the secrets of their ancestry, genetic health, and even traits, like whether you're likely to prefer salty snacks over sweet ones. But as these services grow, so do concerns about privacy, data collection, and recently, financial trouble. One of the biggest names in the industry, 23andMe, is now making headlines for filing for bankruptcy, facing multiple lawsuits and sparking deep worries over what happens to your genetic data when a company goes bust.
All it takes is a bit of saliva, a prepaid envelope, and a few weeks of waiting. Then, like magic, these home DNA kits give you a breakdown of your ethnic heritage, possible health predispositions, and fun facts about your DNA, all conveniently displayed in an app or online account. At least, that's what they claim. When these home DNA kits first came out, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration wasn't exactly thrilled, especially with 23andMe. Back in 2013, the agency actually told them to stop selling their health reports because they hadn't proven the results were accurate enough. The big worry? People might make medical decisions based on flawed or misleading info. That forced 23andMe to pause and tweak their approach. It's a reminder, not all genetic insights are as solid as they seem.
So I recently took one of those at-home DNA ancestry tests. All I had to do was fill up a vial with a disgusting amount of spit and mail it off for analysis. We're going to be here for a very long time. I just spit it back up in my nose. A couple weeks later, this is what I got. It's a neat little pie chart with these specific percentages that were color matched to different regions on a world map. The report told me I was mostly Southwest Asian, no surprises there considering both my parents are from Iran. That percentage, 86.7, I understood that to be the portion of my DNA that's West Asian. But it turns out that's not exactly what ancestry tests are telling us at all. Buried in my results, I found this confidence slider. It turns out my results were presented at about 50% confidence by default. When I increased that to 90%, my results got much more vague. All of a sudden, I was broadly West Asian, and a lot of my genetic markers were unassigned.
Behind the scenes, these kits analyze your DNA through a process called genotyping, which scans for specific markers linked to traits, health risks, or ancestry. But not a full read of your genome, just a selective snapshot. One company might tell you you're not at risk for a condition simply because they don't test for certain variants, while another might flag it. Why? Because each company's results depend on the data in their own database, which can vary widely depending on the populations they've studied. This means results can be incomplete or even misleading. While the insights provided through these kits might be interesting, they're far from exact. Plus, you've just handed over your genetic data, something deeply personal, which could be used in ways you didn't fully anticipate. Right now, one of the biggest players in the home DNA testing game, 23andMe, is facing serious scrutiny. The company, once hailed as a pioneer in consumer genetics, has filed for bankruptcy. But this isn't just a financial hiccup. It's coming on the heels of a major data breach and a pileup of lawsuits.
The genetic testing company 23andMe has filed for bankruptcy, and its potential sale has raised alarms about what could happen to the DNA data of its millions of users. 23andMe was once a pioneer in the DNA testing kit industry, allowing customers to send in samples to get information about their heredity and genetics. Yet the company faced backlash after hackers leaked the genetic data of millions of users in 2023. More than 15 million people have provided genetic information to the company. Ginny Foz is watching this closely for Consumer Reports and joins us now. Thanks for being with us. So what does the sale of 23andMe mean for people's privacy?
Well, there are 15 million people who have used 23andMe to create DNA data. People are interested in understanding their family history and their genetics, but the mere creation of this data means that there is highly sensitive information out there. And because 23andMe is going through bankruptcy and that data could be changing hands, it means that some of the most sensitive data that a consumer can create may be at risk.
Part of what makes all of this so concerning is there are surprisingly few federal regulations in the U.S. when it comes to how companies can collect, store, or share your genetic data. Unlike your medical records, which are protected under laws like HIPAA, the data you give to companies like 23andMe isn't always covered by the same strict privacy standards. That's because these companies aren't considered healthcare providers. They're consumer tech companies. This regulatory gray area means they can often write their own rules in the fine print. Most people don't realize that by clicking I agree, they might be giving the company permission to share their genetic information with third parties, including researchers or even pharmaceutical companies, often for profit. And while some states have started passing their own genetic privacy laws, there's still no strong, unified federal law that governs how this sensitive data must be handled, stored, or deleted.
So what can 23andMe users actually do? For starters, remove consent from all types of third-party sharing. The other critical step is deleting your data ASAP. The website actually has instructions on how to do it. One caveat though. 23andMe outsources its genotyping to labs, and they are obligated to keep customers' genetic info as raw data with their sex and date of birth for a couple of years before deleting it, so it's not instant. My advice here, before you share genetic data with any company, think really carefully if it's worth the potential risks, review all user agreements and consent policies with a magnifying glass, and consider asking your doctor if a proper geneticist referral is better for you. Your DNA is the most personal data you have. It's not just an identifier.
Home DNA kits can be very interesting. Who doesn't want to learn something cool about their ancestry or traits? But they also come with a big reality check. Your DNA isn't just another data point. It's you at the most personal level. And once it's out there, you can't exactly change it like you would a password. The whole 23andMe situation is a wake-up call, both for consumers and lawmakers. Just because these tasks are easy and fun doesn't mean we should hand over our genetic info without really thinking about where it's going and who might end up with it.
A water company in eastern Uganda is disconnecting customers and charging reconnection fees just 48 hours after billing, leaving residents confused and distressed. UNN Field Messenger Diane reports on the unclear policies and system glitches causing these issues.
This is Diane, Field Messenger for United Network News, coming to you from eastern Uganda. My story today is about the water and sewage company in the city where I live and the heavy-handed ways it treats its clients. Every month, the water company sends to the property its representatives to read the meter in preparation for an account to be sent to its clients. This account comes directly to my phone, and last month it arrived on the 27th. On the 28th, 2 representatives from the water company arrived at the gate, saying they were here to disconnect our water as there had been non-payment. Showing and explaining to them that it had only been 24 hours since I had received the bill, that I would need a 5-day extension, as there are others to consult on this property to collect funds from. They agreed and left. However, on the 29th, 2 more representatives from the water company arrived, and they did cut off the water for non-payment and demanded a reconnection fee. Not understanding this demand for payment after 48 hours, I went down to the water and sewage building. I cleared the account as requested and made an appointment to see the manager on the following Monday to get to the bottom of what I was feeling was harassment. Sitting with the manager Richard and sharing information, it seemed that there had been a computer glitch on their end. The property meter had been read on the 21st, and according to their system, they had sent the account to my phone that same day. They also had a policy that you should clear your account within 48 hours of receiving the bill to your phone. So when I got notification on the 27th, it had already been 7 days that I had been late in paying. I told Richard that I had researched the water and sewage website and could not find anywhere that had stated that all accounts should be cleared within 48 hours. Also, I had researched the Water Board Act for Uganda and its consumers, and it said that accounts should be cleared every 30 days, to which the manager replied, all accounts need to be paid within 48 hours, 2 days after receiving the bill to your phone. There are many in the city facing the same hostile treatment. The citizens of Uganda district are being disconnected and charged a reconnection fee. It seems that this corporation has made it their own ruling and are holding people to ransom, a situation that surely needs to be changed. This has been Diane for United Network News.
A few decades ago, global companies started outsourcing tasks like HR, accounting, and customer service to countries with lower labor costs. One of the top destinations for this was the Philippines, partly because of its cultural alignment with the U.S. and its closer to American accent compared to most of Asia. This made the Philippines a hub for business process outsourcing, or BPO, and the call center capital of the world. And it's not hard to see why. Filipinos are admired for their talent, strong work ethic, and kindness. With a low cost of living, excellent English skills, and cultural alignment with Western countries, the Philippines offers affordable, high-quality outsourcing solutions. These advantages make it the top choice for call centers and global businesses. The call center industry in the Philippines has become a key provider of well-paying jobs, drawing in thousands of skilled professionals. These roles come with competitive salaries, performance bonuses, and plenty of chances to grow within the business's process outsourcing sector. On top of that, call center jobs have played a big role in boosting the country's economy, helping many people achieve financial stability and improve their quality of life.
Nursing doesn't pay worth crap in the Philippines. It pays maybe 10,000 pesos, which is $200 US. So you go to a call center, they pay maybe close to at least 20,000 or more. That's 400. I mean, that $200 is like life-changing for some of the Filipinos. So, yeah, I'm just like, okay, call center it is. So, yeah, they make close to 20,000 pesos and more. And then there's, after you work a year, there's a Another bonus.
In 2024, the Philippines had 1.8 million employees in the business process management sector, with projections to reach 2.5 million by 2028, according to the IT and Business Process Association of the Philippines. The industry is shifting from low-cost back-office roles to high-value talent, skilled in AI and the digital economy. However, a skills gap persists, with companies sometimes unable to take on AI-related contracts due to a lack of qualified candidates. To address this, the government is planning education and training reforms, while outsourcing companies are introducing in-work training programs to upskill employees. AI is transforming the outsourcing industry, automating tasks like customer inquiries and call routing, reducing the need for human agents. Many workers face uncertainty, with some on floating status. No work, no pay, but not officially jobless. AI tools are also removing accent barriers, allowing companies to explore cheaper locations like Africa, threatening jobs in the Philippines. Estimates suggest up to 300,000 jobs could be replaced by AI in the next 5 years. While AI may create new roles like training algorithms, the shift is creating challenges for workers and economies dependent on outsourcing jobs. Despite these changes, many believe the human touch will remain essential to making AI effective.
BPO jobs are disappearing. Call centers, think of the past. They say humans aren't needed anymore, that robots will replace us. But let's take a reality check, shall we? The truth, the BPO industry isn't dying. It's truly evolving. AI can definitely answer questions, but it can't build relationships. Automation speeds up the tasks, but can never replace human connection. Oh, look, another customer is begging to talk to a real person. Who could have seen that coming? You see, our businesses need real people, real conversations, real solutions. BPO isn't going anywhere. It's growing, adapting, and definitely it's getting stronger. And MEMS, we're leading that change. So no, the industry isn't dead.
AI in call centers brings unique ethical challenges like emotional manipulation, data privacy issues, and bias in recognizing accents or speech patterns. Studies show many AI systems struggle to process diverse voices accurately, raising concerns about fairness. While AI can improve service by being tireless and impartial, it requires careful implementation to balance innovation with ethics. The future likely holds a mix of AI-powered and humans working together to enhance customer support.
Hey, I'm Kirsten from Switzerland.
This is Wayne from Tucson.
Hi, my name is Desmond from Ghana.
I am Claudia from Dawsonville, Georgia.
I'm Mikey from Pretoria, South Africa.
Hi, I'm Steve McGrath, Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada.
People from all around the world are coming together.
Happy day, beautiful world. We are here in a rather small urban garden, and this video is just to show you the joys that we've had in this garden with the electric gardening.
When news happens in their area, they show us what's really going on.
We have people in the streets protesting for and against.
At United Network News, our field messengers are changing the face of news.
This is Field Messenger Helen reporting with Nature, and I'm going to talk to you about the bees again.
Take the next step in restoring our planet. Become a UNN Field Messenger today.
Hi, I'm Stephanie from South Africa. If it's going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to me. It's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to all of us. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news.
Step into a world of possibilities with New Earth, a groundbreaking series that shines light
on holistic ways to live, work, and thrive. Join us weekly to discover new innovative ideas and explore the world around us as we, together, create our future, our new Earth.
Nicolae Grigorescu was a brilliant Romanian painter and one of the pioneers of modern Romanian art. He is known for his rustic themes, portraits, and landscapes. UNN Field Messenger Monica shares his inspiring story.
Hello, Monica here, Field Messenger reporting for UNN. Coming to you with a story about a brilliant Romanian painter. Nicolae Grigorescu is one of the most appreciated Romanian painters and one of the founders of modern Romanian painting, becoming a symbol for the young generations of artists who in the first decades of the 20th century sought to identify and bring to light the values of Romanian spirituality. The Nicolae Grigorescu Memorial Museum, which I visited in Câmpina City, Prahova County, is the place where the painter Nicolae Grigorescu spent the last years of his life. The genius of national painting lived here in a house in the middle of a large orchard, painting and dedicating himself to rustic subjects in a variety of motifs, realizing peasant portraits and countless landscapes with Romanian specificity. Grigorescu's impressionistic painting has, of course, a personal touch, thanks to his own technique, with which he both captures and immerses himself in the wonder of the surrounding reality. It is the feeling that colors, not the brush, as Grigorescu said. All the paint tubes in the world won't give you the blue of a bellflower if you don't have it in your soul. In addition to dozens of paintings with an artist's signature, you will have the opportunity to see objects that belong to the greatest Romanian painter, some brushes and tubes of paint, a palette for preparing colors, a work table, an easel. As a child, Grigorescu was surrounded by several church painters and masters. At the age of 15, he painted several icons for churches, which critics say are unimaginable artistic experiences for such a young age. Grigorescu also took part of the War of Independence, being called to accompany the Romanian army as a front painter. The painter suffered from farsightedness. It is a strange fate to be deprived of the sharpness of perception of reality by the very sense that is essential to one's genius. Hypermetropia means blurred vision, imprecise contours. Near things are blurred, and the distance of distant things is not correctly approximated. Grigorescu never stopped painting, even when his eyesight was failing. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
Why does eating healthy sometimes feel like a luxury? You walk into a store and a single avocado costs more than an entire bag of chips. You'd think staying healthy would be the affordable choice, but somehow junk food keeps winning the price game. So what's going on here? Turns out the cost of healthy food is rising faster than ever, making it harder for families, especially low-income ones,
to afford nutritious meals. Recent research from the UK Food Foundation shows healthy options like fruits and vegetables are becoming far more expensive compared to processed foods like ready meals and snacks. In just 2 years, the cost of nutritious foods has jumped by 21%, while processed foods like ready meals and snacks have only gone up by 11%. This growing price gap is forcing millions of families to cut back on essentials like fresh produce. In fact, 60% of food-insecure households are eating less fruit, and 44% are cutting back on vegetables. For low-income families, following a healthy diet could mean spending nearly half of their disposable income on food, and even more if they've got kids.
Calories from foods like this are around half the price of calories from foods like this. And we wonder why we've got health issues in the UK. The Food Foundation have released their annual Broken Plate report, and as ever, it is enlightening reading. We know that many people are struggling with their income and the cost of their food at the moment. And when healthy food costs so much more, they're struggling with something else too, their health. Children in families who are in the lowest fifth of incomes are twice as likely to have tooth decay. And they're twice as likely to be living with obesity too. And the food that's marketed at kids doesn't help either. Only 3% of breakfast cereals and 5% of yogurts which are marketed at children are actually low in sugar. Even babies aren't escaping this, because 74% of baby and toddler snacks which have front of pack promotions are likely to be at least medium, if not high, in sugar. And if you're an adult, you might want to get some fast food, and that'll be easy for you to do, because over 25% of places that sell food are fast food outlets. And if you live in a low income area, that goes up to 31%. And of course, these places get defended because people say, well, yes, they're providing hot food and a warm environment for people who are on low incomes. That's true, but that's not a good solution. It's the result of a bad system. We've seen things like diabetes-related amputations increase by 68% in the last 15 years. While price increases for foods like this have gone up twice as fast as foods like this have. We need to do something about this.
In the U.S., healthy eating is also getting harder as the cost of nutritious foods rises. While cheaper, unhealthy options may seem like a smart choice for saving money, they can lead to bigger costs later. A Harvard study found poor diets add $50 billion annually to healthcare expenses, not to mention the personal toll on health, income, and living expenses. Doctors say with 70% of the American diet made up of ultra-processed foods, it's no surprise chronic diseases, even in kids, are on the rise.
Why the hell do we have to pay more to buy food that isn't filled with poison? Let me explain. Have you heard of UPFs? Most people haven't, but guess what? UPFs are killing us. UPF is shorthand for ultra-processed food. And if you think I'm being hyperbolic about the whole UPF death thing, give me 30 seconds and I'll prove it to you. Big food companies have turned your meals into science experiments. For example, a certain fast food chain processes its burgers so much that at the very end, they have to add chemicals back in and make it smell like beef again. That's nuts. But that's not all. Listen to how UPFs are impacting our health. Studies link UPF consumption to various health issues, including obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and certain cancers. So, why are we eating these poisons? Because food companies employ subliminal tactics to enhance product appeal, such as Bliss Point. That's optimizing sugar, salt, and fat levels to maximize palatability. Sonic branding, or designing specific sounds, e.g. the snap of a chocolate bar to trigger a craving. Vanishing caloric density, creating foods that melt in the mouth, leading to overconsumption by tricking satiety signals. Here's how to fight back in your own kitchen. Start with one home-cooked meal every 2 or 3 days. Buy a cookbook and experiment with the recipes. Trust me, you'll start to feel better immediately.
Some changes might come from the U.S. Department of Agriculture proposal to ban the use of food stamps to buy junk food and sugary drinks. This aligns with efforts to make the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, focus on healthier food choices. However, with the cost of nutritious food so high, these changes might make it even harder for low-income families to get by. The U.S. Congress is reviewing 2 SNAP bills, One to ban buying junk food like cookies and sodas, and another to improve the nutrition of food for recipients. Supporters argue taxpayers pay twice, once for the junk food and again for health costs from diet-related diseases. A lot of people think the government should prioritize promoting fresh produce and supporting local farmers. But it's surprising to see who ends up opposing a junk food ban.
The American Heart Association, the organization that is supposed to prevent heart disease, the #1 killer worldwide, and they showed up at a committee in Texas where they're trying to pass a bill. This bill would restrict people from using food stamps for things like sugary drinks, candy, and other unhealthy foods.
For the American Heart Association to be against this bill, that might be the surprise of the session.
And out of all the groups that would oppose that bill, would shock me, the American Heart Association's Director for Governmental Relationships, who came in and opposed it.
I certainly understand why that might be surprising.
Now, I think most people know that the American Heart Association gets a lot of funding from the junk food industry. But from a public relations standpoint, you don't want the American Heart Association opposing something like that. Well, they did. They were embarrassed.
The Heart Association is concerned about potential impacts of this bill on participation and population health.
I just was astonished that the American Heart Association was against our SNAP reform bill that would just say you can't have sugary drinks, you can't chips, cookies, limiting that and pushing people more to protein density rich foods.
They now say that they're no longer opposing that bill.
I certainly understand why that might be surprising.
Did you realize that of all the foods, soda is the single most frequent item bought under the SNAP program? There's a lot at stake for the soda industry because the subsidies, dollars from taxpayers, pay for the SNAP program in the amount of $10 billion, not $1 million, $10 billion a year for that soda, which then lead to obesity, type 2 diabetes, then feeds Big Pharma because they're treating the side effects from the junk food industry. And on top of that, you have the American Heart Association that's supporting the funding of this thing.
Healthy eating should be available to everyone, everywhere, no exceptions. The real challenge is figuring out how to make nutritious food affordable and easy to get for everyone. Whether it's new policies, supporting local farmers, or creative programs, it's time to rethink how we tackle this issue.
Hanami, a beloved Japanese tradition, celebrates the fleeting beauty of cherry blossoms. Every spring, people picnic under blooming trees to welcome the season. With over 1,000 years of history, Hanami remains a treasured cultural event. UNN Field Messenger Akira brings us this captivating experience.
Hello, this is Field Messenger Akira reporting for UNN from Tokyo, Japan. It is April. Cherry blossoms must be in bloom everywhere in the northern hemisphere. In Japan, people especially love to see cherry flowers in full blossom, enjoy walking under cherry trees, and often gather and drink alcohol. It is called Hanami, which means flower watching. This is a very popular and famous cherry blossom spot alongside the Imperial Palace, which is called Chidorigafuchi. The name means the pool of 1,000 birds. This pool was once a moat of Edo Castle, which is now the residence of Tenno, Japanese emperor. It is said since ancient times, cherry blossoms have been linked to the sense of impermanence, and their sudden blooming and falling reflect the fleeting nature of life for the Japanese. I agree with that, but I also feel that the Japanese love watching cherry blossoms because those flowers reflect our preference for crowding together or being part of a crowd and acting in the same manner with the people around. At night, you can enjoy the lighted cherry blossoms. Young lovers come and take pictures, of course. This is Field Messenger Akira reporting from Tokyo, Japan. Thank you for watching.
Now it's your turn. Join our weekly meetings and become a field messenger. More information is available at our website, unitednetwork.earth. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news.